If your cat is currently missing, then you're likely to get bombarded with advice from cat charities and cat rescue centres telling you that you should immediately implement change to your cat's environment. Put the cat food outside, they'll tell you. Spread your sweaty clothing all over the fence line. Put the cat litter outside and empty the contents of your Hoover bag all over your garden. This is a big mistake. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why it's a mistake. I'm going to show you what happens if you implement this advice. And at the end of the video, I will give you the only exception to the rule. An exception that if it applies to your missing cat, may well encourage your cat to come home without you having to do anything else whatsoever. I'm Colin Butcher, the Pet Detective. You're watching Pet Detective TV. We still have a lot to learn about the behaviour of the domestic cat, but amongst the many things that we do know is that cats form incredibly strong bonds with their human families, and they form equally strong bonds with both their home environment and their territory. We also know that cats are incredibly sensitive to any changes that take place in those environments, and that sudden or prolonged change may well in fact cause a cat to migrate. To get a better understanding as to why cats behave this way, we need to have a quick look back in time at the behaviour of the domestic cat's ancestor. All domestic cats have a common ancestor, a species of cat known as the African Asian wildcat, and they stand approximately the same size as domestic cats. They are nocturnal creatures leading relatively solitary lifestyles, and they range across vast territories in search of prey. And it is the very scarcity of prey that dictates how these cats lead their lives. And this is because each territory only has sufficient resources to support one adult wildcat. Because of the size of these wildcats' territory and the relatively aggressive nature, encounters between cats are relatively rare. So they've had to find a way of communicating with each other that goes way beyond face-to-face contact. And they've achieved this through scent. And over the thousands of years that these cats have been around, they have developed an impressive repertoire of scent messages. And each message is designed to elicit a specific response from another cat. So scent messaging is effectively social media for cats. And as these wild cats prowl across their territories, they live in this perpetual state of readiness, constantly alert to changes that may indicate the presence of another cat or the movement of prey. And our domestic cats have inherited all of this scent language and behave in exactly the same way. However, unlike their wild ancestors, domestic cats don't have the luxury of having vast territories. In contrast, we've forced cats to live in very close proximity to each other in very, very small areas. This can be a very stressful existence for a cat. And as every cat owner knows, their cats are rarely completely still. There's always an ear that's moving and listening to the conversation, or an eye that's carefully watching what's going on within the cat's environment. So let's take a closer look at the recommendations that these cat charities and cat rescue centres give you. Top of their list is to put food out in your garden. And the recommendations are it should be tasty, smelly food. What you need to understand about cat behaviour is that if your cat's already migrated, it's not looking for a meal. It's looking for safety and security. That's why it's left in the first place. But what the food will do is it will draw all the other cats and other wild animals to your garden. And when they come into the garden, they're going to scent mark. And the type of scent messages that they're going to be sending out is what's known as resource guarding. I found this food, it is mine. So you are inadvertently sending a message to your cat, which is stay away, this territory is now occupied by a new cat. Second on the list of recommendations is that you should take some items of your clothing, wear them for a few days, and then hang these sweaty items all over your fences. Apart from it being really unhygienic, it's going to serve no purpose whatsoever. As I've already explained to you earlier in the video, cats form incredibly strong bonds with their human families. They know when you're stressed and they will avoid you when you're stressed because it only increases their anxiety. So if you start putting clothing outside that's covered in your perspiration, covered in stress hormones, remembering that most stress hormones are either in your hands or in your armpits, the message that you're sending out to your cat is you are stressed, and you're sending that stress out into the environment, which again is going to discourage your cat from coming home. Third on the list is that you should put a cat litter outside. Ask yourself this question: when was the last time you saw your cat chilling out in a cat litter? It doesn't happen. No more than you're going to hang out in a public loo. It doesn't happen. There's nothing about a cat litter that's attractive to a cat. So it's not going to encourage your cat to come home. But what it will do is this: it's going to start sending signals of confrontation to the other cats in the area. Because one of the ways that a cat will mark a boundary is with urine, and they'll also use feces. So if you're suddenly putting a big pot in the middle of the garden, it's effectively stating to all the other cats in the area, this is a new boundary, and they're going to come in, they're going to explore, they may use the cat litter, but one thing is for certain: they will scent mark, and they will aggressively scent mark in your cat's territory. And fourth on the list is to scatter your Hoover contents all over your garden. Apart from the fact this is going to really annoy the neighbours if all that dust drifts all over their recently washed laundry, you have to understand that it's going to have no impact that's positive. If you have other cats in your household, what you're doing now is spreading all over your garden all that cat scent. That cat scent is going to drift around your garden and go over the fences, and once again it's going to draw the attention of all the cats in the neighbourhood, and it's going to cause those cats to come and investigate. They'll enter your cat's territory, they'll seek out these new sources of scent, and the very first thing that they'll do is they'll scent mark on top. And you're going to force your cat to stay out of your garden. So a quick summary on why changing your cat's environment is the wrong thing to do. Putting food out will draw other animals into your garden. They're going to scent mark, and the scent they'll use is resource protection, which is going to force your cat to stay away. Number two, putting clothing outside on your fence line that reeks of your stress hormones is just going to increase your cat's anxiety and force it to stay away. Number three, putting cat litter out is an aggressive scent mark to the neighbouring cats. You've effectively moved the boundaries, so the cat's going to come into your garden and they're going to restate their claim to their particular part of the territory, and they will rigorously scent mark within your cat's territory. And finally, scattering the Hoover contents over the garden is not going to work. It's just going to create a very, very confusing scent signature, and all the neighbouring cats are going to come into the garden and explore it, and they will start to scent mark when they're in your garden. So do not make any of these changes whatsoever. They will not work. Now, I said at the start of the video I would outline to you the one exception to the rule, and here it is. If you know that your cat has migrated from its home because of another cat, you've seen cat aggression, you've seen an intruder cat in your garden or maybe in your home, if you've seen a face-off between your cat and another cat, then you have to neutralise that scent. You've got to take away the scent marking that this intruder cat is leaving all over your garden and around the front of your property. And how you do that is you take a hand spray or even a watering can, and you mix a solution of 3 parts water and 1 part white wine vinegar. And everywhere that you've seen this cat spray, you must neutralise. Just soak that area in this solution and it will neutralise the cat spraying. And focus around areas close to the home, especially around the cat flap. These areas need to be neutralised, and what it effectively will do is it will age the intruder cat's scent. It will give your cat the confidence that it's not going to be ambushed if it returns to its garden, and it will likely come back of its own accord and come back into the home. So that's it from me. Hopefully you can see now why changing your cat's environment is the wrong thing to do, and you'll just keep it exactly as it was before. And if you've already made those changes, well, get outside and bring them all back in, because they're not going to work. They're not going to be of any help whatsoever. Stay with us for our next video, because there's still a lot to learn about the world of cats. And if you've got any comments to make or any questions to ask, then please put them below. I'm Colin Butcher, the Pet Detective. You've been watching Pet Detective TV. Goodbye.